kids, I hope you all are fine. Today we are going to start chapter. So read and enjoy.
Chapter 2 Around the World in 80 Days. Read and enjoy. Mr. Phileas Fogg was an English gentleman who lived by himself in Savile Row in London. He was not married and seemed to have no relatives, though he did not hold a regular job. He seemed to be quite rich. He went to his club, the Reform Club, every day without fail, but did not go around town too much. Not much was known about him, even to his friends, except that he was a man with an orderly mind and regular habits, who lived by the clock. Mr. Fogg's own watch not only told him the hour, minute and second of the day, but also the month and the year. He did the same things every day at the same time to the minute. On 2nd October 1872, Mr. Fox dismissed his previous servant because he bought in water for shaving that was 2 degrees colder than it should have been. On the same day, Mr. Fogg engaged Jean Passepartout, a talkative Frenchman, as his new servant. Passepartout was quite surprised at his list of duties and the precise instructions given to him. He began to think that his master was some kind of clockwork monster or a machine. However, he looked forward to his new job as a welcome change from the past. After engaging Passepartout, Phileas Fogg reached the Reform Club and went at once to the dining room, where he took his usual table. His lunch was ready for him. At 12:47 p.m., he rose and went towards the large hall where he read newspaper till the dinner hour. After finishing dinner at 5:40, he went back to the reading room and waited for his friends, Andrew Stuart, John Sullivan, Samuel Fallentin, Thomas Flanagan and Gauthier Ralph, to join him at 6:10 p.m. He played cards with them till he went home at midnight. On any other day, Mr. Fogg have played whist, a card game, with his friends till midnight and would have then gone back home. But 2nd October 1872 was different. While Mr. Fogg and his friends were playing whist, there was a discussion about a bank robbery that had been reported in the paper that day. £55,000 had been stolen, and it was said that the thief had fled the country in the guise of an English gentleman. "The world is large enough for the man to disappear," said Andrew Stuart. "It was once, now you can go around the world in 80 days, Mr. Fogg said. "That's true," Mr. Sullivan added, presenting that day's copy of the Daily Telegraph, which had carried an estimate of the same. "But that doesn't include bad weather, shipwrecks, railway accidents, and so on," Mr. Stuart replied. "All included," returned Phileas Fogg. "I would like to see you do it in 80 days. I will bet £20,000 against anyone who wishes that I will make the tour of the world in 80 days or less. Do you accept?" "We accept," the men replied in unison. "Good. The train leaves for Dover at 8:45 p.m. I will take it. As today is Wednesday, 2nd October, I shall be due here on Saturday, 21st December at 8:45 p.m. or else this cheque of £20,000 will belong to you, gentlemen." Saying this, Mr. Fogg hurried back home. It was 7:25 p.m. by his watch. On reaching home, Mr. Fogg informed Passepartout that they would leave home in 10 minutes. He ordered him to pack a carpet bag with 2 shirts and 3 pairs of stockings, each for both of them. "We'll buy our clothes on the way. Bring down my mackintosh and travelling cloak, and some stout shoes," he added. By 8 p.m. the packing was done and the men left for the station. At 8:40 p.m. they were seated in their first-class carriage to Paris, and 5 minutes later the train slowly glided out of the station. So, at 8:45 p.m. on Wednesday, 2nd October 1872, Fogg and Passepartout departed from London. This is the estimate of the journey as given in the Daily Telegraph. Mr. Phileas Fogg and Passepartout had many adventures in their journey around the world, though they did not stay anywhere for a very long time. Mr. Fogg was interested only in the time it took him to travel from one place to another, not in the pace themselves. This is what Mr. Fogg wrote in his diary when he reached Suez in Egypt. Fogg and Passepartout reached Suez in time on the ship Mongolia, which they had boarded in Brindisi. While disembarking in Egypt, they were watched by a detective named Fix, who had been dispatched from Scotland Yard, London in search of the bank robber that all of London was talking about. In fact, it was the same bank robber Fogg's friend had been talking about and because of whom Fogg had made the bet. Fogg matched the description of the robber and was an English gentleman, and so Fix decided that Fogg must be the criminal. Fix, however, did not have a warrant for Fogg's arrest when he tracked him down in Suez, so he boarded the steamer to Bombay with the travelers. During the journey, Fix made friends with Passepartout without revealing his purpose. Fogg in the meantime promised the steamer engineer a large reward if he got them to Bombay early. Mongolia docked at Bombay on 20th October, 2 days ahead of its schedule on 22nd October. Mr. Fogg and Passepartout immediately set off for Kolkata by train. Among the passengers was Sir Francis Cromarty, an army officer, Fogg met on the voyage and who was now on his way to Benares. On the way, the train stopped abruptly at Colby, a small place 50 miles from Allahabad, because the railway line had not been built to Allahabad. He was wondering if they should set off on foot when Passepartout found a man who had an elephant and suggested that they should hire the elephant and ride across the jungle to Allahabad. The owner would not hire out the elephant as he felt getting it back was a very remote possibility. So Mr. Fogg had to buy it for £200. After that, having a guide, the group set off for Allahabad on the elephant. In the jungle, they came across a funeral procession of a Maharaja. Mr. Fogg noticed that a semi-conscious, beautiful dressed woman was also being taken. When Sir Cromarty told him that she would be made to commit sati, as was the custom, Mr. Fogg decided to rescue her. They did so and continued on their journey. They boarded a train from Allahabad to Benares, where Sir Cromarty got down. Finally, Mr. Fogg and Passepartout reached Calcutta with the young lady, Auda, on 25th October, the due date according to the journal. Auda was afraid that the Maharaja's people would follow her and try to kill her. Mr. Fogg too feared that, and therefore he offered to take her to Hong Kong, where she had a relative who would take care of her. When they reached Hong Kong, they found that Auda's relative had left Hong Kong. So Mr. Fogg invited Auda to continue traveling with him. After many nail-biting adventures, Mr. Fogg, Auda and Passepartout reached San Francisco, America from Yokohama, Japan, exactly on schedule on 3rd December. In his travel so far, Mr. Fogg had neither gained nor lost a single day. They now had to reach New York by 11 December, when a ship was due to sail for London. The rail journey to New York would take 7 days. All this time, Mr. Figg was also following Mr. Fogg because he was very sure that Mr. Fogg was the bank robber he was looking for. Unfortunately for Mr. Figgs, the arrest warrant that he requested from Britain missed them at every port on British soil. Finally, when he did get the warrant, they were out of the Hong Kong and he had to wait to get back to British soil where the warrant would be accepted. Mr. Fogg got down at Liverpool, England at 11:40 a.m. on 21st December. He was only 6 hours away from London and from winning the bet when Mr. Figgs arrested him. Poor Mr. Fogg was put into jail and his hopes of winning the bet came crashing down. By the time everyone realized that Mr. Fogg was not the bank robber, it seemed too late and Mr. Fogg returned to his home in London as a very, very sad man. Auda and Passepartout also returned with him, feeling very upset and sorry. The clocks were showing 8:50 p.m. The scene is the saloon at the Reform Club at 8:20 p.m. on 21st December 1872. There are 4 gentlemen standing or sitting around the card tables. These are the men who made the bet with Mr. Fogg. They are bankers John Sullivan and Samuel Fallentin, Andrew Stuart, an engineer, and Gauthier Ralph, the director of the Bank of England. All of them are looking at the clock, which shows 20 minutes past 8. One man enters the room briskly. This is Thomas Flanagan, a brewer. A. Stuart, getting up from his chair and walking towards the clock. Well, gentlemen, in 20 minutes the time agreed upon between Mr. Fogg and ourselves would have passed, and we will know whether old Albemarle was won or lost. T. Flanagan, what time did the last train arrive from Liverpool? G. Rolfe, at 23 minutes past 7, and the next one doesn't get here till 10 past 12. A. Stuart, well, gentlemen, if Phileas Fogg had come in by the 7:23 train, he would have got here by now. We can therefore consider the bet as won. Fallentin, let's not be too hasty. You know Mr. Fogg is very eccentric. His punctuality is well known. He never arrives too soon, nor too late. I shouldn't be surprised if he appeared at the door at the last minute. A. Stuart, why, if I saw him now, I would not believe it. T. Flanagan, Mr. Fogg's project was absurdly foolish. Whatever his punctuality, he could not prevent the delays which were certain to occur, and even a delay of 2 or 3 days would mean the failure of his project. J. Sullivan, we have received no news of him at all. There are telegraph lines all along his routes. There's been no news of that detective Fix either. Telegrams have been sent to America and Asia, but no one has heard anything of them. A. Stuart, the China, the only steamer on which he could have got here, arrived yesterday. His name was not on the passenger list. He has lost, gentlemen. Looks up the clock. Only 5 minutes more. All look at each other. The tension is unbearable. T. Flanagan, in an attempt to break the tension, shall we play a rubber while we wait? All silently agree as the cards are shuffled. All their eyes are on the clock, which ticks away loudly in the absolute silence. G. Ralph, as the cards are dealt 18 minutes to 9. They pick up the cards and arrange them. T. Flanagan, 2 minutes more. There is total silence in the room except for the ticking of the clock and the muffled sound of the crowd from outside. J. Sullivan, with suppressed excitement, 60 seconds to win. The players now stop playing and silently count off the seconds. At the 57th second, there's a roar of hurrahs from the crowd outside. The players rise to their feet and almost immediately the door to the saloon opens and Mr. Phileas Fogg appears, followed by a crowd of people. P. Fogg, here I am, gentlemen. How did the Miss Fogg discover that he had actually come back in the time to win his bet, when he thought it was too late because of the problem in Liverpool? When they were back in London, Mr. Fogg told Aouda he had wanted to ask her to marry him, but he had lost the bet and was now a very poor man, so could not ask her to share his life. Aouda, however, said that she would like nothing better than being married to him, even if was poor. This made Mr. Fogg very happy, and he sent Passepartout at once to the priest to get a special license so that they could marry in church the next morning. In a short time, Passepartout came running back and dragged him to the club. P. Fogg, what is the matter? Passepartout, my master, marriage. Impossible. For tomorrow? P. Fogg, why so? Passepartout, because tomorrow is Sunday. P. Fogg, Monday? Passepartout, No, today is Saturday. P. Fogg. Saturday? Impossible. पैसे put out. Yes, yes. You have made a mistake of one day. We had arrived 24 hours ahead of time. But there are only 10 minutes left now. Passepartout then seized his master's hand and rushed to the Reform Club exactly at 8:45 p.m. on Saturday, 21st December. Phileas Fogg had completed the journey around the world in 80 days and had won his bet of £20,000. How was it that Mr. Fogg, who was so exact and punctual in everything, could have mistaken the day? How did he think that he had arrived in London on Saturday, the 21st day of December, when it was really Friday, the 20th, only the 79th day from his departure? The cause of the error is very simple. Phileas Fogg had, without realizing it, gained one day on his journey because he had constantly travelled eastward. He had gone towards the sun and therefore gained 4 minutes for every degree of longitude he crossed in his direction. There are 360 degrees multiplied by 4 minutes give precisely 24 hours, that is one day. In other words, while Phileas Fogg going eastward saw the sun pass the meridian 80 times, his friends in London saw it pass the meridian only 79 times. This is why he was in London on Saturday and not Sunday, as he had assumed.